Jaylee.
Hello, how are you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Great to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, so am I. So, Jaylee, you're a professional wrestler, you're a model, you're a 90s babe, and you started wrestling in about 4 years ago. And in such a short time, you have accomplished a lot. You are a multi-time OVW Women's Champion, you're ECC Women's Champion, you've shared the ring with the likes of Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Asuka, and you've done the tango with No Way Jose. I mean, you've done a lot. But something about you that really strikes out to me is your personality and the fact that you really call yourself a 90s babe. So I want to start off this interview with this question: that what is it about the 90s that you love so much? Being a 90s kid myself, I'm really intrigued.
I mean, 90s is just kind of where it's at. Like, growing up in the 90s, like, we had wrestling, we had the Attitude Era there.
Right.
Just felt like everything was just, like, cool. I don't know. Like, we had video games. We had, like, all kinds of stuff,
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like 90s is kind of just where it is. It's
totally,
hard to grow up in, for sure.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. So when you talk about wrestling in the 90s, do you think it was better than the wrestling that we currently have?
I mean, I grew up on it, so I would say yeah, because I feel like they definitely told more of a story then. It wasn't so much as, like, the moves and the wrestling and stuff like that. It was more of, like, the character. Like, you could pick out who was who just by their music and just, like, knew what they're going to do just because you knew them. Like, look at Stone Cold. He was a badass beer drinking. He could, come in there and kick some ass. And, yeah, did he do, like, moves and stuff like that? Yeah, but I don't know. I grew up, my dad was a security for WWF when I was a kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's kind of how I got into it. So, like, being backstage, I was, like, 5. So this was, like, 95, 96, when he was, like, doing it. So that was just, like, it for me. So that's kind of how I fell in love and got started.
So it's basically destiny for you to get into wrestling since your dad was always into your WWF and security. That's very cool. So you talked about music. Is 90s music also something that you really enjoyed better than the music that we currently have?
For sure. I am a huge Britney Spears fan, which, with everything going on with her, free Britney. So yeah, I mean, like, I just loved, like, the poppiness and, like, just, like, the grunge style back then. Like, my style is just kind of all over the place. Like, one day I'll be, like, preppy and poppy, and one day I'll be, like, grunge. Like, grunge music was definitely, like, my favorite growing up. So, yeah, the music there, too. I still listen to a lot of 90s music. Like, I do listen to, like, today's music, but if I'm on, like, a road trip or anything like that, I'm literally listening to, like, music I grew up to, which probably some of it I shouldn't have listened to when I was growing up, and we hid it from my parents. But,
Yeah, I can totally relate. That's all right. That's very good. So when was it? I mean, I assume that you've been watching wrestling since your childhood, but when was it when you really fell in love with professional wrestling?
So I would probably say when I was, like, backstage, when my dad used to do security. Like, I went backstage when they were at Freedom Hall, and then they were in, like, Louisville Gardens and doing stuff like that, like OVW and stuff. So I will say, like, I probably fell in love, like, when I first saw, like, Stone Cold. He's, like, my all-time favorite, and, like, Lita. I'm, like, super obsessed with them. So I feel like that's exactly when, like, I fell in love with it. So I knew I always wanted to do it. And I only started 4 years ago because I was going to start at, like, a young age. I was going to start when I was, like, 18. But, like, women's wrestling then wasn't really, like, it is now. Like, they really take women's wrestling seriously now. Like, even back in the 90s, like, they were just sex symbols. And my dad was kind of upset when I told him I was going to be a wrestler because that's what he knew. Like, he doesn't watch, like, or he does now, but he didn't watch, like, today. So, like, he was just seeing kind of, like, remembering, like, what happened backstage and, like, what they were meant to do in the ring and stuff like that. So I was going to do it at a young age, but I don't think I was confident enough either. Like, you have to be really confident to do this. And some days I'm not still. I mean, you're human, so it happens. But when you're putting yourself in that limelight and you are, putting yourself out there, like, it can be really tough. So I think that's why I waited so long, because I'm 100% comfortable with who I am, and like, you're gonna like me, if not. So yeah, but I did fall in love with it at a very young age. Like, I remember like beating my sisters up. Like, my dad like a makeshift like ring in our backyard when we were like kids. I would just beat the crap out of them. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do one day, I promise. And like, I had like wrestling belts all over. I was like such a tomboy. Like, I wasn't into girly things, but I was definitely like into the wrestling scene for sure.
Definitely. So you say that it was not a very easy decision for you to get into wrestling. So if women's wrestling today was the same as it was in the 90s, do you think that you would still choose to be a professional wrestler, or would it be a no-no for you?
I mean, I probably would have. Like, I don't mind like how the wrestling was for women in the 90s.
Right.
I thought it was really fun and entertaining. So, I mean, it was probably like not PG back then, but like that was like the time for wrestling. I feel like that's when the crowds were like super into it. So I think that's just what I've always wanted to do. I'm really glad that they do like look more into like the wrestling and like character and stuff like that now, and they're really taking it seriously. So I do appreciate that, but I think I still would have, even if it wasn't what it was today.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm pretty sure that fans of both eras would love you the same. So we're getting a lot of questions here in the chat, and one of the questions is, which is your dream match, and whom do you want to wrestle?
Who would I want to wrestle?
Yeah, your ultimate dream match.
Oh my gosh, so my ultimate dream match would definitely be Lita. Like, that's my favorite of all time. So okay. I got to meet her one time backstage, and I totally fangirled, which I don't normally do, like, especially like, like being in the entertainment business, like, they're just normal people. So that's definitely 100% my dream match. Like, if that is ever an option, I'm down. I don't care when it is, what time, place, I'm doing it.
Wow. And somebody says, yeah, your hair is stunning. And I can see something in common with Lita right there. Your hair. So very well. And we're getting another question. Would you ever try a death match?
No, I'm not really into that. Like,
right.
I mean, all power to anybody who does it, but I'm more into like just like character and stuff like that. Like, this is a moneymaker, so I don't really want to mess it up. And like, I don't like blood and stuff like that. Like, I will like literally pass out and faint. So no, unfortunately, I would not.
Okay, cool. Very cool. So, of course, wrestling can get very, very physical at times. So how was training for you? Was it a walk in the park, or did it get difficult for you at times? How was it?
So when I trained with Matt Capitelli, that's where I started in OVW, it was really easy for me to like learn everything. It's when I got to Rip Rogers' class is where it got really tough. He pushes you into, you cannot do no more. So that was really tough. And it was nothing but boys in there too. So like, I felt like I had to like, prove myself and stuff like that. But Rip was such a good trainer. So he definitely pushed me. And if he was like yelling at you and pushing you, that he liked you and saw something in you. So I was very, very appreciative of that. And it meant a lot. So there were some days though, like, you're training in a building, it's hot, you're doing like a lot of, you're just in the ring training, like, and you're doing like exercises, you're doing squats and push-ups and stuff like that. It would just get so tiring. So I would say, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not normal for you to throw yourself around on a mat. It's not normal for you to like back bump and to like do all that stuff. It's not normal in your body. So, some days it was like really came natural to me and easy. And then some days it's just like, man, what am I even doing? Like, this is tough. Right. It was hard on your body.
So you did have second thoughts while you were training to become a wrestler?
Oh, so many times. There were so many times. I remember, like, even in the beginning of training, I would have bruises everywhere and, like, just beat up. And, like, my body just felt like, whatever. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? And then, like, when you would have matches and, like, the fans would reach out to you and, like, you realize why you're doing it. Because, like, you want to be a role model. Like, you want to have fun. You want to entertain people. So many times was there no question that I was like, I'm going to quit. And I thought about quitting so many times.
Absolutely. And you talk about fans. How was your first, the first ever match that you wrestled in front of fans? Were you nervous, or was it something very easy for you?
Oh, yeah. I was so nervous. I was about to, like, poop my pants for sure. So like I wasn't like when I had my first match, it was at OVW and it was like a showcase. So like you invited friends and family. So like a lot of my friends and family came, but then like all the people I trained with, their friends and family. And I wasn't really my character. I wasn't Jaylee, you know, like I didn't know who I was, didn't know I wanted to be in the ring. I had just been training for 10 weeks when we did it. So I don't think, I mean, I still get nervous to this day, don't get me wrong, but as soon as I hit that curtain and I'm there, I don't get nervous at all. I think it's a lot of adrenaline, but yes, 100%. I was super, super nervous my very first match.
Is it harder for you to perform in front of your friends, your family, or acquaintances as opposed to your strangers?
Yes and no. I would say yes in front of my family because a lot of people don't like me. I'm very hated, which that's just who Jaylee is. So, like, it's really funny to hear my mom and dad, like, in the crowd because they're my parents. So, like, they're going to have my back note regardless. So, I think it's hard to do that and to, like, not, like, be out of character when I'm wrestling with them because I can hear them. But, I mean, I would say yes and no. I mean, no, because, like, I feel comfortable in front of them, and I know that they're going to just, like, cheer me on. But I do like performing in front of fans who, like, don't know me and just, like, know me in the ring and stuff like that because I can really, like, bring that out, so.
And speaking of fans who don't know you, you've performed in front of thousands of people. You've appeared, I would say, a year after your debut match, you appeared on WWE television where you faced Sasha Banks, Bayley. How was that? How was, you know, entering a WWE arena and competing in front of millions of people watching around the globe?
So that was my very first, like, big match. So I had been wrestling with, like, OVW. I had some, like, backstage Impact stuff, but that was my very first match. And I was scared to death. Not only because, like, it was on Monday Night Raw. And, like, Monday Night Raw is hectic anyway. Like, backstage, it's crazy. SmackDown, I wrestled Asuka and Kairi Sane. It was way more chill, like, relaxed and stuff like that. So, like, that one was really fun for me, and not that the Monday Night Raw segment with Bayley and Sasha wasn't. It was just so scary because I was so new to the business. It was maybe my third time backstage at WWE, and I get there like, two of you like are going to be featured on Monday Night Raw. Go get changed. Like, you're all going to do tryout matches, and I was like, oh my god, this is like what I was wanting. And then like when I got picked, I was like, oh my god, I really have to do this. Like, I have to go out there. But when you walk out there, you walk out dark. And then the lights come on, and then you just see all these people. So that was super scary for me. But, like, once you get into the match, like, it was good. I mean, you can tell, like, I think that my fear in the beginning. And then when you look at my SmackDown match and how I was more relaxed, and I was just like, you know, whatever, I'm me. And it was just, like, more chill and fun. And I was, like, had more experience at that time. I had more TV experience. I knew what to expect at this time. So it was a lot easier the second time, but it was like I could have been like, I could quit right now and never wrestle again because not a lot of people I know, like definitely from like my normal life and in wrestling, can say like they got to feature on, you know, WWE Raw and like wrestle Sasha Banks and Bayley. So I could have quit then and been happy.
Oh, absolutely. And I could tell how comfortable you were on SmackDown. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've watched that slap to the face of Asuka about a dozen times. It was so pleasurable. It was amazing. It
was so fun. They were so cool. Like, they were so nice. Like, I couldn't have, you know, I was so grateful I got to wrestle those two. They are very, very, like, good in and outside the ring. And they were just so down to earth and so sweet and nice. Like, it made it so enjoyable. And I was just really, really grateful that I got that second chance to do that.
That is amazing. And I really hope that we get to see you on TV, on WWE TV, as a full-time performer in the future. But can you tell us about how does WWE treat its enhancement talents? I mean, do you get to hang around backstage? Do you get to meet any of your favorite, you know, superstars? How does it work?
Well, yeah, you do for sure. So, I mean, you're around them the whole time. Like, most of the time where you sit, you just, like, find, there's, like, a viewing area so you can watch the host show. Like, sometimes, like, that you can even go out and, like, into the crowd and watch it. They treat you really well. I mean, you get catering. That's basically where you hang out because that's where, like, most of the TVs are. So, I mean, they treat you well. Like, the performers who talk to you, you're not supposed to be like trying to take pictures with them or anything like that, because you're there to do a job, and I get 100%, like especially after my first time being there, because you want to be starstruck, but then you're like, these are just normal people just like me, and like they're just on a bigger platform. So I mean, they do treat you really fair, I will say.
That's awesome. And another very interesting question in the comments is, what about movies? Would you like to ever act in movies if you get a chance?
Oh, for sure. Like, I always told, like, my dad, like, always told me too, like, he was like, you're gonna be famous one day. I would always, like, have to be the center of attention when I was a kid. Like, he would record us, like, every, like, home, you know, videos, or like he would like record every vacation. So I was always like posing and stuff like that. And he's like, I have it on like video on VHS. Like, you're gonna be famous one day. So yeah, I would love to be in movies. I love to like be a character. Like, I love to like to do that. So yeah, I would definitely. I mean, if it's ever brought to me, hell yeah, I would totally do it.
Awesome. And some time ago, you just mentioned that when you were training, there were boys, you know, in the training as well. You've competed in close to 100 matches so far in your career. Have you ever gotten a chance to step into the ring against a man in an intergender match? And if not, yeah.
I haven't in actual matches. Of course, like in training, we have. I mean, I've had like intergender tag matches where I've got to do stuff to the boys, but they weren't allowed to touch me because I was at OVW for a long time, and they just didn't do that there. And then like I started to venture out, and like, you know, I was having a lot of momentum behind me. Then COVID hit, so
right.
So yeah, I'm not opposed to doing that. I would love to, but yeah, I haven't really like in a setting where we're in front of a crowd doing that.
That's awesome. We're getting a lot of love for you from the fans in the comments, and one of the fans have mentioned that they would like to see you in AEW one day. And they've also written that they would like to see you against Lance Archer and Pinnacle 4. Would you like to go to AEW as well?
Oh, I totally would. Yeah, like anywhere. Like, I can be on a bigger platform. I'm not, you know, I obviously WWE, I would love to be there, but I really like AEW. I watch their stuff as well. And I like the women's division. Like, they have a really good one that they're starting. Even NWA, I would love to be there. Serena Deeb's there. Mickie James is starting to do stuff there. Like, Camille, like, I really like Camille. I think she's just, you know, she's just awesome. And she's really nice and down to earth as well. So, like, anywhere, honestly, that can be on a bigger platform, I would love to. Even if it's just for a guest spot or a contract, I'm just anywhere to be able to do what I love.
That's awesome, and I know that you would flourish whichever promotion you go to. And you really remind me of Maria Kanellis. I spoke to her some time ago, and she mentioned how she's opening up ROH for all the female wrestlers, no matter which promotion. So maybe you should try ROH sometime. You know, get in there, challenge for their title.
Oh yeah,
conquer the promotion. That would be amazing to see.
I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have done just so much in such a short time. How would you, in one word, describe your career as a wrestler so far?
I mean, it's just amazing. I've had so much opportunity in such a short amount of time. Some of it I've had help with. Some of it I've just put myself out there. A lot of the WWE stuff, that was all me. Like, everything that I did there, like, I just put myself out there. And, like, but, I mean, a short amount of time, again, I mentioned being on Raw. Like, I could have quit then because that was my childhood dream. Like, I got to wrestle on both brands. Like, I'm in the WWE history now forever, like, on their channel and everything just because of that. And, I mean, it's just been a wild ride, but it's definitely been amazing. And, honestly, I didn't expect to have this much opportunity and momentum behind me as I have. But I think it just comes and goes. Like, there's days that I'm like, oh, I need to do more. And then there's days I'm like, man, you've done so much. So I think I just go back and forth with that. But I just got to remember, like, how great I've already had so far.
Absolutely. And you've definitely evolved a lot. We just spoke earlier of how, you know, you've evolved as a wrestler, how you were more comfortable on SmackDown than you were on Raw. And there's a comment here, there's a question again. What changes have you seen in yourself over the years in wrestling?
I would definitely say confidence. I will say that for sure. When I can get into a character and really pour myself into it, I would definitely say that I have worked on that a lot. And OVW helped me with that in Rep as well. But just having that character work has just made me confident. And then just in training, I can see from my beginning matches to now, I just look so much crisper and just cleaner, and adding that character work in there as well, it just really, it's more entertaining. So I definitely evolved on both aspects, and of course I just want to continue to train and get better and do seminars and work other people too to help me progress as well, because I can only imagine if I keep doing what I'm doing and training and working on my character and stuff, what I can do in the future.
Oh yeah, we can't wait to see what you do in the future as well. I'm very excited for your future. I know it's going to be very bright, and the fans are going to be so proud of you. But can you tell us, what are your plans moving forward? Do you have any goals or maybe any promotions that you have in your target?
I mean, yes, I definitely have goals. Again, I want to be on a bigger platform, whether it's AEW, WWE, and ROH, Impact, anything like that, NWA. I definitely and really, really, really want to get on NWA, just because of the women's division that they have right now, and Mickie James is starting that, so I'm in love with her too. I think she's amazing, and then just everything that she's went through recently, and just really wanting to help the female wrestlers. So my goal is just to try to work towards one of those. I don't have promotions wise, on the indies, I would really want to work for Shimmer, Shine, or there's some big ones in Chicago and Texas and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely want to work towards, getting on a bigger platform so I can, work more experienced women than me to learn and grow and everything like that.
Absolutely. And Jaylee, with the personality, with the talent, the raw talent that you possess, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be accomplishing all of your goals, and you're going to achieve a lot in this business. So the fans watching right now, to stay up to date with Jaylee's career, you can follow her on Instagram. The username is right here. You can follow her on Twitter. The username is @Jaylee1234, and you can find her on Facebook as well. Jaylee, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. You were an amazing person and an amazing wrestler. But before we go, I just have one more question for you. You have had two names in wrestling. The one's Jaylee, and the other one is what WWE likes to call you. That's Karen Lundy. And we all know, what repetition the name Karen holds. So which name do you like better?
Oh my gosh, definitely Jaylee. That's who I picked. It's definitely me. It's my character, Karen Lundy. You had no clue what name they were giving you. They were gonna use my real name, but Bailey and Jaylee sounded too much alike, so they switched it. So I can't remember. Rip was telling me after that, because I can't remember whose last name's really Lundy, but I can't remember. But that's why they did it. They just talk and they just use people's real names, and WWE whoever it is. But yeah, definitely Jaylee. Karen, I'm not a Karen, and I don't look like a Karen.
You don't look like. No, you're not a Karen. You're a Jaylee and only Jaylee. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Jaylee, and I hope to talk to you soon. And I can't wait to see you on my television screen in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Honor. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye. You too.